There's a short stretch of Beechwood Drive in Los Angeles where you can clearly see the Hollywood sign. Tourists stop at this point to take photos. I lived in an apartment on that stretch for 7 years. My landlady was called Mitzi. She lived in the apartment next door to me. Her boyfriend was a man in his 80s named Joe McDougal. Joe had written a screenplay about an American soldier fighting in the Korean War, and he asked me to read it, which I did, and quite frankly had been avoiding him ever since. I made some notes on the parts that I didn't hate, but overall, it was a brutal read.
I would have given anything just to avoid having to talk to him about it. Then one afternoon, Mitzi knocks on my door and says there's a medical situation with Joe. So I go over, and Joe is totally out of it. So I say to Mitzi, "You gotta phone for the ambulance." And she goes into the next room and calls 911. So I'm sitting there with Joe, and he's on the couch, and I notice that his testicles have fallen out of his shorts. And I say to Joe, your testicles. But he doesn't understand. He's so goddamn out of it. And I know that I wouldn't want to have my testicles on the couch when the paramedics arrive. So I say to Joe, I'm just gonna tuck your balls back into your shorts. Is that okay? And he whispers something, but I can't hear him. So I ask him again. I said, Joe, your testicles have come out of your shorts. Can I just tuck them back in for you? I really can't understand what he says, so I lean in. What did you say, Joe? And he takes my hand, and he holds it, and he leans in so close to me that I can feel his breath on my ear. And he says, yeah, could you do that for me, please? The man said yes. So I pull out the cuff of his shorts and I tuck his balls back into his shorts. And then Mitzi comes back in the room and she says, where are Joe's balls? And I said, well, I tucked them back inside his shorts. And she just says, oh. And she seemed surprised that I had done that. And I don't know what I was supposed to do in that situation. And the paramedics come, and it turns out that Joe just had a bit of low blood sugar because he was working outside the whole day and didn't eat. So he had some apple juice and a granola bar, and he was just fine. Then Missy says to me, you can go now. And Joe didn't even look at me, even though he was now fully recovered.
And from that day on, Joe never mentioned his screenplay.
And I still have my notes on the parts that I enjoyed, and I would have really liked to present them to him. But he never asked me what I thought of his writing.